I will tell you what, if week 3 was the drunk week of the NFL season, which we all seem to think back in week 3, week 5, I don't think week 5 was drunk. I think week 5 was doing black tar heroin in an open air drug market in Portland. Yeah, I think that's a pretty apt descriptor. Welcome, everybody, to the Countdown here on Stay Tuned Sports. My name is King, hanging out with you here. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to help us out, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Helps us out tremendously. And, of course, if you want to help us out a little bit more, we have our donation station and merch store link, as well as our Discord link down in the description below. Thank you so very much for that. Now, week 5, what the hell? We had comebacks, we had blowouts, we had games we thought were going to be blowouts that ended up being comebacks, and with all of that, that's kind of going to throw the rankings into a little bit of disorder. You think you know what you got. You think you know where you're going, and it turns out you don't. I think I only won 4 games on my picks this week. Thought I had a pretty good grasp of what was going on in the NFL. I think a lot of people thought they had a pretty good grasp of what was going on in the NFL. It turns out we don't know shit. Well, at least I don't know shit. I'm sure there's some people out there who do know their shit, and that's why they're employed in knowing their shit. Me, however, not employed in doing this shit. But I'm out here on YouTube doing this shit and putting myself out there as being maybe one of the dumber NFL people. But then again, I never claimed to be an NFL expert in any. Well, I never claimed to be an expert in anything. To tell you the truth, all I ever said is that I have these sweet, sweet, dulcet tones. That who doesn't just love listening to me talk about nonsense? So, with that in mind, let's go talk about some nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go over to the big vertical board. Here we are. Look at that. Looking all good. I should probably recenter myself here. This seems a little weird. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what we have here. I don't know why I'm doing a National Geographic theme, but we are. Let's check out the Booty Cheeks 5, shall we? Booty Cheek 5. Coming up here for week 5, finding out who are the 5 worst teams, as deemed by me, in the NFL as we currently sit. Right now, at number 28. We have the Tennessee Titans at 1-4. They were able to come back in a game that they were getting blown out. Maybe the most improbable comeback ever. The way the Cardinals blew this game, there's no way the Cardinals should have blown this game. There's no way the Titans should have won this game. Yet, here we sit with the Titans having won their first game of the year against the Arizona Cardinals, sitting at 1-4. Again, I still don't think the Titans are that good. There's a lot of 1-4 teams in the NFL, and a lot of not good ones there as well. My New York Giants are one of them. But for right now, I think 20 is up 2 spots from where they were last week, from where I had them last week. The Tennessee Titans at number 29. The Miami Dolphins. Man, it looks like it's I think it might be time. Mike McDaniel there is I think he's done. I think he knows he's done. I think everybody in Miami's ready for it to be done. It's whatever it is not working. The players aren't working. Obviously, I think every Dolphin fan wants Chris Greer to be fired. I mean, Chris Greer should have been fired a while ago. And so the team that was put together is not good. The coaching staff isn't any good. The players aren't any good. Nothing good is happening right now in Miami as they sit at 1-4. No change after they lost. Again, they had a pretty decent lead. That was another one of the games where they were leading the Panthers and let the Panthers come all the way back. Another team that we thought was maybe one of the bad teams here in the NFL, maybe one of the worst. The Panthers now sitting with 2 wins, not in my Booty Cheeks 5, but the Dolphins remain there at 1-4. Number 30 in the Booty Cheeks 5. The third team is the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland and Los Angeles, sitting at 1-4. Geno Smith is just not good. Whatever magic he had in Seattle, it is just not there. It is not working with Pete Carroll. It is not working there with the Raiders. They don't. I'm not sure what's going on. It looks like Ashton Genty is finally got maybe some legs under him. and learning to get the position. A couple games ago, it looked like he was going to break out. I still think there's a lot of problems there in Oakland when you only have Max Crosby really on your defense, and that's about it. It's not good offensively. It's not good defensively. They got absolutely boat raced by the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, and there was no comeback attempt on that one. And with that, the Raiders I have sitting at 1-4, up a spot though. I did have them go up a spot because who we have at 31 is the Cincinnati Bengals, who just traded for Joe Flacco from the Cleveland Browns. Everybody thought it might have been Jameis Winston. Everybody thought it might have been Russell Wilson. They thought they would have gone for at least either one of the Giants quarterbacks that were available. Some people were saying Kirk Cousins, but we all know the Bengals, and we know they're too fucking cheap to do that. So that's why I was Joe Flacco. Going for Joe Flacco kind of makes sense because I think they can get him on pretty much on the cheap, and it's also not going to, the reason you get him on a cheap, though, is because Cleveland decided to move on from him because he's not going to work well there. How he's going to work behind that Cincinnati offensive line, I don't see it getting much better in Cincinnati. But I do have Cincinnati, again, up a spot after they I don't think they were ever in danger of winning that game against Detroit, but they did show a little fight late on in the game. But who could I possibly have as the worst team in the NFL after Week 5? It's got to be the only team that hasn't won a game yet. And that is the New York Jetropolitans. Again, I didn't have them ranked. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt because the last 4 weeks, it's like outside of the Bills game, I was sitting there thinking, the Jets have really only hurt themselves. They've had too many penalties. They're just they're losing themselves. If they just didn't make so many mistakes, if they can clean those up, boy, I think they got a shot. And I was like playing against a Cowboys team whose defense is not the greatest, clearly. They let the Giants and Russell Wilson put 37 on them. They let the Bears put 31 up on them with Caleb Williams. It's like maybe they're not great. Maybe this is where the Jets can kind of get a clean game. Nope. That didn't work. And the Jets defense, for everybody trying to say, they got a lot of talent on that defense, and on paper they have a very talented defense, but it has not shown up in any way, shape, or form there at the Meadowlands. And the Jets, the only winless team in the NFL as we currently sit after Week 5. The Jets 0-5. I don't know if it's going to get much better for the New York Metropolitans. I really don't. I don't see it getting much better. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Booty Cheeks 5 for after Week 5. Now the Tennessee Titans at 28. The Miami Dolphins at 29. The Raiders sitting at number 30. At number 31, we have the Cincinnati Bengals and their new quarterback, Joe Flacco. And at number 32, the New York Jets. So, we've gone with the worst teams. We've seen who we've had for the worst. Let's take a breath. Let's see who we have who might actually be good in the NFL. Let's take a look at the top 12 NFL power rankings for Week 5. And, I think I try to talk too much. I think I try to come up with too many things to say and try to be superfluous with things. I don't want to do that. Let's just jump right into it, right? Let's just jump right in. And at number 12, we still have the Pittsburgh Steelers. No changes. It stays like before. They had a bye week. They sit at 3-1. They sit on top of the AFC North. Again, the defense has started to play a little bit better these last couple games. Still not great, but they're playing better. And again, they had the bye week, so I really felt like I really couldn't knock them out of the top 12. But so they're going to stay right there, right at the bottom. I'm hoping to see more from the Steelers after this bye week. We will see what happens in Week 6. Who are they playing this week? The Steelers are playing the Browns, and Dylan Gabriel, who had a great game over in London. I thought he played very well. So it's going to be, I think, a bigger test than we thought coming out of the bye week for the Steelers. They should still win, but I think this one's going to actually be a very interesting divisional game there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At number 11, we have the Seattle Seahawks after their close-up. What a game, by the way. What a game. And what a great-looking game, by the way, between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle going into the game 3-1. Tampa Bay going into the game 3-1. And it was a back-and-forth affair. Sam Darnold playing like a goddamn all-pro. Baker Mayfield playing like a goddamn all-pro. These teams went back and forth and back and forth. And haymaker for haymaker, haymaker for haymaker. Great plays, fun plays, beautiful uniforms. That is what NFL football should be. That Tampa Bay and Seattle game is exactly what football should be. And Tampa Bay, again, Baker got the ball last. They were able to get down to the field from a great interception from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sam Darnold. Maybe his only mistake really of the game. A pass just barely deflected off a Tampa Bay player's helmet. I honestly don't think it affected the flight of the ball that much. I think that ball was going to end up being intercepted either way. But just unlucky to happen at the spot where it did. I thought Seattle might have a chance to go down the field, get in field goal range, and win the game. Instead, Tampa Bay is able to run the clock down, get a walk-off field goal. But still a great game. That's why I didn't want to move them down too much. But considering how all the other picks were and going here with the top 12, they did move down 3 spots. But I still do like the Seahawks sitting at 3-2 in the 11th spot there on the top 12. At number 10, kind of the same as the Steelers. I didn't feel like I could move the Packers from where they were. Maybe I should have. Maybe they should have been a spot lower and put the Seahawks a spot higher and only have them move down 2 spots. We'll see. The Packers, maybe the one team that so far might have needed this bye week more than anybody, because after they started off 2-0 and everybody's like, maybe this is the team. Maybe these guys are the guys. And they lost to the Browns, who were still starting Joe Flacco. So you didn't even have the, they got a Dylan Gabriel jolt of energy. And then they tied the Cowboys, who it was supposed to be Micah's homecoming. They were going to blow them out. The Cowboys aren't very good. Their defense is bad. And it turned out the Packers barely tied the Cowboys. Again, that was so close. That was a half second away from being a Cowboys win in overtime from a bad decision from Jordan Love. Instead, they do get the tie. But when you're just lucky enough and barely tie the Dallas Cowboys, and you're supposed to be a team that we all thought was something special, Packers still have a lot to prove coming out of this bye week. At number 9, brand new to the list for me anyway, the Denver Broncos sitting at 3-2. They won a couple games. They have beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the first team to beat the Eagles this year, and they did it in comeback fashion on the road in Philadelphia. Again, I think they have not played particularly well all year. I think that Bo Nix has regressed a little bit. If they can switch that around and get that working around, which he seemed to have done a little bit in the second half against the Eagles, I think he's all right. I think they're going to be okay. But they have to turn that around. The defense has not played up to the potential that we all thought that they were going to. That needs to change as well. But I do think they're on the right track. And it doesn't matter how you do it, by hook or by crook, when you're able to go on the road and beat the defending Super Bowl champions, who are, undefeated up to that point. They were 4-0. Not a bad win for the Denver Broncos. That's why I have them up there at 9 in this week's power rankings. At number 8. Why is my number 8 not working? Number 8. There we go. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Another team brand new to the list. Jimbo, when he was still with the show here, which, again, Jimbo's taken a indefinite leave of absence from Stay Tuned Sports, but he had the Jaguars as one of his worst teams. Even after they won in week 1, he had them like, I don't know about the Jaguars. I'll tell you what, this team, somewhere or another, it looks like a comedy of errors sometimes when you have Trevor Lawrence tripping over his guards, tripping over himself, bumbling, stumbling, as Chris Berman would say, but somehow still getting the win, still getting into the end zone. Travis Hunter had a great game on Monday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. Looked good. I really do like the way the Jaguars are starting to put stuff together. Are they a great team? No. Are they going to be a Super Bowl contender? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, they're winning games, which is a lot better than losing these type of games. When you're winning the close games and winning games, like, yeah, but they haven't been that impressive. But then again, you have a first-year head coach. You got a quarterback that's trying to save his job. You have, they do have a very good defense. So we'll see where the Jaguars go. And if they can continue to improve as the season goes on, if Trevor Lawrence can actually start honing in his skills there and getting to the where he was about like 2 years ago before his knee injury, maybe the Jaguars are one of those sneaky teams, one of those under-the-radar teams that's able to do something going into late November and December here in the NFL. Team number 7, who do we got there? All the way down. That's a big drop for the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, one loss. They're at 4-1, but boy, the Eagles have been playing with fire the entire season. They have not played a full 60-minute game, and they still haven't. They've been able to come out on top. They did it against the Rams when they were getting blown out in the first half, and they were able to come back in the second half with a little help from the officials. And then against Tampa Bay, they were blowing Tampa Bay out in the first half and let Tampa Bay come roaring all the way back in the second half. Again, same thing here with the Broncos. They had a big, sizable lead, and then the Broncos go ahead and they outscore the Eagles. What was it, 18-0 in the second half, or was it just the fourth quarter? Like, there's something wrong in Philadelphia where they can't put together a full 60-minute game. And I think somebody brought up did Saquon only have like 6 touches, and one of them was in the second, only 1 touch in the second? Again, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on with Sirianni. I don't know what's going on in the NovaCare complex there with the Eagles or Philadelphia. But they've got to find a way to take their good first halves and their good second halves and meld them together and play a full 60-minute game. If they can do that, we know what the Eagles can do. And if they can do that, they will be a menace. But so far, the Eagles have not been able to do that. They've been skating by and getting real lucky to be 4-0. That luck ran out on Sunday, and that's why the Broncos were able to beat them at home. And the Eagles now sit at 4-1, and they sit at the number 7 spot on my power rankings. Number 6, the Los Angeles Rams. They dropped down 2 spots after losing an overtime game, which, again, it was overtime, but the game seemed like the 49ers almost seemed like they were outplaying the Rams the entire game. Now, Puka Nacua still had a fantastic game, still looked great. The Rams still had their plays, and they looked good. But the fact that they were in a match where they had to come back against the San Francisco 49ers, and then in overtime, again, they could have gone for the tie and see where it goes from there and kick the ball back, or they decided to go for the win. It didn't work out. They could not convert a 4th and 1 in overtime. They were well within field goal range, but I guess, you looked at, Sean McVay was looking to go for the win instead of the tie, and I can understand that, and I respect that. We've all seen what happened with the Cowboys and Packers tie, and everybody said that sucks. So he said, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to go for the win. Just didn't happen to work out. The Rams are sitting at 3-2, maybe the most talented 3-2 team in the league. I think the Rams are still a very good team, but you lost to a team that was just riddled with injuries, got more injured again in this game. Mac Jones, by the end of overtime, was looking like he was dying. He was like coughing up blood. But what a game from Mac Jones. Old McCorkle Jones there was kicking ass, was taking names, looked great in command. Some people saying there might be a quarterback controversy in San Francisco. I don't know about that. But Mac Jones was 1,000% the MVP of Week 5. If you're asking me just about his performance and his toughness, I think that has to go to Mac Jones. He played well. And the Rams, they've got to figure something out here because, again, they've now lost 2 games. They lost the comeback game where the Eagles came back and beat them after they looked to be in control. And then they lose at home to a very injured San Francisco team. If you're a great team, you can't lose these games. So, again, I still believe in the Rams. I still like the Rams. But they're on thin ice. At number 5, and they've jumped up 4 spots for me. The 4-1, believe it or not. The San Francisco 49ers are 4-1. They are on top of the NFC West as injured as they are, without Nick Bosa, without Brock Purdy for the last couple weeks, he came in and then went out, and then he was in and he was out. They're still 4-1. They've gone in and beat the Rams in the Rams' house, which is never really the Rams. I mean, that place was 80-20 San Francisco 49ers fans, as it always is down in L.A. I've never seen a more misleading team motto than Rams' house. In no way is SoFi Stadium the Rams' house or the Chargers' house. No, it's just not. But again, the 49ers, by hook or by crook, some way, any way they can, with bubble gum, Band-Aids, and spit, they are winning games. And in the NFL, you are what your record says you are. And the 49ers are 4-1. That's why I have them at number 5. And again, Mac Jones, what a performance on Thursday night. A big salute to you. Tough guy, McCorkle. At number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think there's any argument here. They are impressive. Baker Mayfield, impressive. Again, it feels like whenever if there's time on the clock and if he has the ball, the Buccaneers feel like that they're never out of it. And again, they had a game which was a shootout against Seattle. That was a back and forth, haymaker for haymaker for haymaker for haymaker game. And they did it. They did it while looking beautiful in the throwback Bucko Bruce, all white creamsicles. Looking good, feeling good, playing good. And the Buccaneers, they have a good record, 4-1. They are going to be it feels like a special year for the Buccaneers. And Mayfield is putting up MVP-style numbers here. He really is. If you go and look at his numbers, which I should provide you for here, but I don't have the numbers in front of me, so again, I'm trying to get this out really quickly. I do apologize for that, but Baker Mayfield looks great. And right now, in the early season, the first quarter of the season, scuttlebutt there for MVP conversation, Baker Mayfield clearly has to be not only in the conversation, but I think near the top of that conversation. And that's why the Buccaneers are at number 4. Who are they playing this week? The 49ers. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. I'm excited for that one. Number 3, we have the Buffalo Bills. After a inexcusable loss, it feels like, but not really, because again, the Patriots played well enough to win. Early on in the game, there was 4 fumbles, I think, in the first quarter and a half of this game. It was just each team looked like they were trying to fumble fuck each other out of the game. It was a bit sloppy. It was a bit weird. The Bills wore their all white coked out uniforms there. Not sure about that. Hopefully, because they lost, we won't see those again. But the Bills, they were going into this week as the number 1 team. Had to knock them down, too. You lose to the Patriots at home on Sunday night in prime time. All of a sudden, the Bills, everybody was questioning, man, are they going to be the best team in the league? Right now, I still think they're up there. I still think they're one of the best. And I think they can reclaim the title of number 1 if they can get back on track. But that Sunday night game was a little bit sloppy. Didn't like seeing it. Bills down 2 spots to number 3 with a 4-1 record. At number 2, Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. Da 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 da. I'll tell you what a surprise! And I always believed. I always believed in Daniel Jones. I always believed in Danny Dimes, and I told y'all for years, and nobody wanted to listen to me. Never doubt King. King always knows. And I certainly know, and I believed in Daniel Jones, and he has showed up big time. He's had an over 100 quarterback rating in every game except for one. That was the one against the Rams where it was 88 because he had the 2 picks, one early on and one after the Jonathan Taylor touchdown was taken away from a penalty. And he was. It felt like he might have been trying to force a pass in there, and that is what it is. Still a mistake. So, but outside of that, like, if Adoree Jackson was it not Adoree, it's Adonai Jackson. If he doesn't have those 2 mistakes in that game for the Colts are sitting at 5-0. The Colts could be the only 5-0 team in the NFL if it wasn't for those mistakes against the Rams last week or 2 weeks ago. So, again, I think it's time to start believing in the Indianapolis Colts. Not only are they beating the teams they're supposed to beat, they are beating them by a wide goddamn margin. I think they're averaging 30 points a game in some of those victories against the teams that they're supposed to beat. You know what I mean? And the two close games, the one against the Broncos, they won. The one against the Rams, they happened to lose. And again, it was their own mistakes that cost them that game against the Rams. And not even really their own mistakes. It really was one player's mistake. Two of those mistakes that he had, which took 14 points off the board for the Colts. And ultimately, that led to the defeat. But it's time to start believing in the Indianapolis Colts, and let's see if they can keep this up all year. Jonathan Taylor has been playing well. Yeah, Tyler Warren has been playing out of his mind. Daniel Jones playing out of his mind. These guys are absolutely 100%, I feel, a for-real team. It's time for you to start believing in the Indianapolis Colts. And coming up here now, finally, at number 1, we have the Detroit Lions. They have reclaimed the top spot here. And again, after that week 1 drubbing from the Green Bay Packers, it has been all Detroit all the time. They have looked like really one of the better, if not best teams in the NFL. They look good. They went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens, which maybe right now doesn't look so great as Baltimore sits at 1-4, although they are very injured right now. Lamar didn't even play last week. And they got the doors blown off them by the Houston Texans. So maybe that would have been. But they played Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was playing that game. The Lions look good. I really think that they have whatever rust, whatever they had to shake off there in week 1, I think it's been shaken off. Not to quote Taylor. There's enough quotes out there for Taylor. And Travis now with the new album out about knocking on wood or whatever it is. I hope her hips are okay. Either way, I think the Lions have shaken off all of that. Whatever that week 1 blah was, the Lions have ejected that, as you were, and they seem to be on a straight upward trajectory. And for now, they're no. And now again, we've seen what's happened with a lot of these teams. So we've either had number 1 or number 2. We've put the Eagles up there. We've had the Lions up there. We've had the Bills up there. Can the Lions hold on to the number 1 spot here going for the next couple weeks? We will find out. Who do they play on Sunday? The Detroit Lions. Are they playing or do they have a bye? No, they're going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City on Sunday night. So, again, Kansas City lost to Jacksonville on Monday night. Let's see if they can bounce back, but let's see if the Lions can keep their streak going, again, on prime time against an opponent on the road that it feels like the way the Chiefs are playing, the Lions should win. But again, the Bills should have beat the Patriots, according to all metrics that people were talking about on Sunday night, and that didn't happen. So we'll have to see what the Lions do this week. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the top 12 for after week 5 here on Stay Tuned Sports. The Lions at number 1, the Colts at 2, the Bills are 3, the Buccaneers 4, the San Francisco 49ers of Santa Clara at 5, the Los Angeles Rams at 6. The Eagles all the way down to 7, dropping 5 spots. The Jaguars at 8. The Broncos at 9. Those are both new teams to the rankings. The Packers stay like before at number 10. The Seahawks drop to 11. And the Steelers round it out after they sat nice and quiet after a bye week at 12. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, your countdown for after week 5. We got week 6 coming up here. We'll have the main show for you on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the Eagles and the Giants live from the Giant HVAC unit at the Meadowlands. We'll see if Jackson Dart can shake off a very bad performance against the Saints on Sunday and actually maybe have a good one at home against the division rival Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles, boy, they're looking for a get-right game, and they might be getting the Giants right at the right time to get back on track. We'll be here with you for that game. And until then, my name is King. This has been Stay Tuned Sports and the Countdown. We'll see you tomorrow for the flagship show. Adios, everybody.